Now, we added some EJS magic or some EJS templates here. One thing that is missing here is the layout functionality Pug or handlebars gave us. And indeed, EJS doesn't have layouts. But we can use so-called partials or includes. By the way, a feature that Pug and handlebars also know. The idea here is that you have some code blocks which you reuse in different parts of your templates, and you can therefore just share them across your templates. So it's a bit like the opposite of a layout. Instead of having one master layout where you put your individual view parts into it, you have a couple of separated shared view parts which you can merge into the views you're creating. And for that, I'll create a new subfolder in the views folder, which I call includes. And that name is up to you. There, I will create a couple of shared files or shared code blocks. And which code do we share across all our views? Well, we certainly share this part here, where we have like the beginning of the HTML document, including the title, including the main CSS even. And then we share the body of each document. So we also can outsource that, even though it's not that much code right now. But that might change if we have a common script we import everywhere. We also share the navigation. So there are three include files I want to create here. Head EJS for the start of the document, end EJS, and of course you can name these files however you want, and navigation EJS. And now I will just go to the 404 EJS file, grab the beginning of the page, everything that is shared, cut that out of here, and move it into my head EJS file. Now I just need to import this, and this can be imported into the 404 EJS file by adding our EJS syntax, now with a minus, and you use that if you want to output unescaped HTML code. That, by the way, means that by default, if you have this syntax with the equal sign, and you would render some variable that holds a string that holds HTML code, it would not render that HTML code, but render it as text to avoid cross-site scripting attacks. With a minus, you can avoid this and really render the HTML code. We can do this combined with a keyword offered by EJS, the include keyword, which allows us to include a certain element into this page. And then you close that with the normal EJS tag without the minus. Now here in include, you simply add a string which holds the path to the file you want to include. And you have to enter this path as it's seen from the file you're in. So the 404 EJS file is in the views folder. So the file we want to include is in a subfolder. So we just have includes and then head EJS. And this will now take the HTML code in here. And as I mentioned, then also render it here. Let me save that. And let's go to some route that doesn't exist. And we still have a valid document here, as we can prove if we open the page source. So this all works. Now we're using an include. By the way, if you use an equal sign here, you see now it gets rendered as text. And that is what I meant. This is escaping the values, so it's not rendering it. So if you had some script tag or anything fishy in there, it would not render it. It would just display it as text and therefore protect you. But if you know what you're doing, like we do here, because we wrote the code we're including, we can and we should, of course, include it as HTML. So this is now using an include, and we can now also use it for the navigation. So let's take all that navigation code here, put it into the navigation EJS file. And in there, we'll also have to manage the active link again. I'll come back to that in a second. For now, let's just go back to 404 EJS. And here again, I will just includes navigation EJS and close that. And last but not least, the end of the document is also shared, even though it's very short. Let's move that closing body and HTML tag into end EJS. And let's share this too. So here at the very end, I will have includes and EJS like this. Now with all that out the way, I can still load this page just fine and it works. Now let's also implement this, and this is of course a great practice for you too, so feel free to pause the video. Let's also implement this for the other two templates we have. Were you successful? Let's try it for add product EJS. There, we also want to take our common code here out, so the start of the document, not the two links, which are exclusive to this page here though, so which we really only need there. But instead of the other part, we can now include our includes folder and there head EJS to bring back that start of the document here. In add product, we obviously need to replace more, like the header. So there we also should use include and then go to the includes folder, navigation, close that, and close the tag. And also the same for the end of the document, since we did that before. Include, go to includes, and then here, includes, and then there we have end EJS. So now we got this in there too. But of course, one problem we face if we reload this page is that our active class is gone here. So we need to bring that back and mark this navigation item as active if we are on the add product page. Now for this, let's go back to the admin.js file real quick, where we do render this route. And there, let's remember that we already added this path for pug. And we can reuse that functionality. We can go to our navigation EJS file and then add a class here. And there simply output something rendered through EJS. We can do this inline with an equal sign, so we don't need to enclose a block of HTML code. And simply check if path is equal to, and now the path here is /admin /add product. So basically, the path which we define here. And if this is equal, I'll use a ternary expression here, which is an inline if statement in JavaScript. So here we have the condition. And if that is met, we now do whatever comes after the question mark. So then I want to render active here. And since I'm inside the class text here, I will basically just add the active class. This is how you can read this. Always keep in mind that this simply gets replaced with text when the template is rendered. So this will just become class equals active. And then I add the else condition with a colon. And else is just that I rendered nothing. And now I can copy that here, that class assignment, and do the same for add product where this should belong. There where I did it originally, I should check for just / because that is actually the path we set for the shop here in shop.js, this path. So now I got this in place. I'm checking for the two different paths here, and I render the active class based on that. And therefore, if we save all of that and we reload the page, we got add product added here. Now let's go to the shop.js file, and there let's do the same. Keep the link which we need in that file, which is the product CSS file, and replace the other part with our general include. So in the includes folder, there we have the head EJS file. Replace the navigation as we did it before. So there we have include, includes, navigation EJS, and of course also replace the body of the document. So here we have include, includes, and EJS, like this. And now with that, if we save that too and we go to the shop page, it looks like it did before, and we should still be able to use our application as we did before, but now we're using includes, which is kind of giving us the same experience as with layouts. We have to repeat all this include code all the time, but that is okay, and we still benefit from having shared code. So with that out of the way, we got EJS added, and we'll continue to work with that throughout this course. And I hope you got a solid understanding of why we use templating engines, which options you have, and how they roughly differ. And with that, you should of course be able to choose your favorite.